It's Monday, July 29th. I'm Aaron Whited, and welcome to The Lodge. So today I have a good buddy of mine on The Lodge to talk about some hunting, some bow shooting, and working on bows. Got the one and only Ryan Todd on here with me today. Ryan, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, buddy. How's it going, Aaron?
It's going good. I've actually got some ribs out there on the Traeger, some St. Louis spares going on the Traeger, and more or less just waiting for them things to finish.
Dude, talk about a good way to finish the day.
You got that right. It's kind of like a Christmas gift, one that you get early because you start the process at like 9:00 in the morning, and then you wait hours and hours and hours for them to take a bath in the smoke, and then you finally get to enjoy them.
100%. That's freaking sick.
Well, how's your day going?
Going pretty good. Got in late from Ohio yesterday, so got a little bit of rest. Took my 3 boys to my grandparents to eat some breakfast, kind of our Monday ritual before they start school back, especially during summer or any like holiday breaks. So
right on.
The way they get to know their grandparents, and we get home, let the kiddos play, and just kind of mill about and try to get my life organized before we go back to working at the shop on Tuesday. And not a whole lot other than that.
Well, you got to tell us a little bit about your trip to Ohio. I know that was a pretty fun trip.
Oh, dude, it's exciting. My buddy Josh and Danielle got me into shooting the USAT stuff this year and shot Arizona Cup. You went to Gator Cup in Florida. We skipped SoCal, went to Buckeye in Ohio. And it's been a learning curve for me because I'm coming from an ASA background or just shooting 3D locally around here. So it's been a neat experience. I'm getting to see the best in the world at their game and what they're doing. And, it's not that you're not having to judge targets. You're not having to, try to strategically hit a 12 ring. It's 72 arrow qualification rounds at 50 meters or 54 and a half yards for those yards. You're shooting an 80 centimeter target. So it's 6 arrows per end. You got 4 minutes to shoot those arrows, no matter the wind conditions, which that in itself has been a trick to learn. Shooting in the wind, paying attention to the wind socks. So, even though your bow might be hitting dead on, and it's weird to aim off of the bullseye because that's what we're training to do, is to aim at the middle. You might actually have to aim high and right, if you've got a headwind that's coming into you and to the left just a little bit, because it's going to actually force that arrow down and to the left. So that took some time. And, shooting appropriate arrows. I showed up the Arizona Cup with, Black Eagle Rampages, which is a 5 millimeter arrow, and I had the biggest arrows there. And I was blown away by it. And everybody's like, "Are you really going to run those?" I'm like, "Yeah, that was the plan. I didn't know I needed anything different. Just trying to get into it." And sure enough, now I'm shooting X Impacts, a 4 mil arrow. It's less likely to get, blown away by wind, and actually equates to being a little more forgiving for you, where you have it's intense.
That's what I was wondering, what would be the benefit? Because, if you think about it, in ASA and 3D and stuff, you're going big arrows. You're going big, fat, thick arrows to get as much line as possible. But I get that makes more sense going thinner, smaller, hopefully faster to get less wind resistance.
Yeah, and that's kind of the game plan for it. At first, because, USA Archery actually allows you up to, I think, a 23 diameter arrow, which is, about the going rate in 3D, 23s to 26s, but their max is a 23 diameter in USA Archery.
Gotcha. So, well, good Lord. If you had a side wind, imagine what it doesn't matter how much helical you got. Imagine at 50 yards what that would do to a 23 millimeter arrow.
Oh, dude, it's gross. You even got a gentle breeze of when I say a gentle breeze at like 10 mile an hour, which is pretty intense at that far, if you're aiming dead on, you might actually hit, like a 7 left, even over that distance, just because of how much surface area is getting affected by that wind.
Golly.
So, you would have to aim way off target, and it just feels so foreign and just weird, and it can cause all sorts of mental issues like target panic and stuff like that. And it's a spiral, a downward spiral, bad rabbit hole to go down. I don't recommend it. So it's a game that you got to play. We're only allowed to shoot 60-pound max, not even a tenth over that. They got rid of that tolerance this year. So I think my bow's at like 58.5 pounds. But
I was going to say, so basically you're better off just going ahead and cutting it and getting it down like 58, 59. Don't even be close.
No. Well, I thought, because they used to have a pound tolerance. I was actually forced in Arizona to cut my bow back, a half turn off the limbs because it was reading, 2/10 over. And, I was like, I thought you had a policy about it. It was like, yeah, we used to. And that was last year. They changed some stuff up, and it depends on the day too. Like there's certain scales at tournaments that are reading a little hot, some that are reading, a lot less. Like, Ohio, for instance, I scaled my bow at the shop before I left. It was, 58.5 pounds. Get up there to get all your equipment inspected and checked in, because they verify that you got initials on every arrow, everything's the exact same. They check your release aid, stuff like that. If you bring a spare, you got to check it too. But the bow actually weighed in at 53.5. So it was reading 5 light on their hand scale compared to the shops back here. And I was kind of blown away by that. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know if they didn't calibrate it correctly or what, but I was talking to a bunch of the guys on the field, and some of my friends, and it was like, everybody had about the same thing. They're like, there's no way this thing's pulling, 55 pounds or 54 pounds, whatever. I think it was just, the scale of that day, for whatever reason, was reading light.
That makes sense. The wind. So imagine if you were that far off in anything else, like draw length or anything like that. That would totally screw everything up.
Oh, dude, yeah, you can't have crazy tolerances like that. It doesn't work out well. Archery is such a game of little things. It's kind of intense to see what all actually goes into it versus just bolting stuff on and then it's ready. I'm ready to go hunt. It doesn't work that way.
Praying that it works out.
Oh yeah, the old spray and pray method. It doesn't work.
Well, you and I have known each other for a long time. Why don't we tell the people a little bit about you?
Yeah, sure. Where do you want to begin on that?
Well, I mean, let's start with Saluda.
Okay. So I started at Saluda 3 years ago. Go on year 4 here pretty soon. But originally I started there because I was offered an opportunity. I was retreading tractor trailer tires, and I was, a welder by trade. So I was doing a lot of different things. But I had a job opportunity to go work at the bow shop, and I was like, man, I don't know. I've had a shop at my house for, going on 9 years. And I was doing it for myself, close family and friends, just to get by. And I was like, I don't want to mess up somebody else's stuff, because ultimately I'll have to fix it. But Kevin gave me a shot, brought me in there, and first day in there, he had me rebuild just a completely blown apart Elite. Guy had derailed it, blew the limbs off of it, warped the cams, everything. And he was like, we just got the parts in for it, we'll give you a shot. Why don't you put this thing back together? And after a little bit of time, and just being, cautious about it because it wasn't mine or anybody I was close to, we got that thing back together and shooting good. And that's when he was like, all right, yeah, we're gonna keep you on, and we're just gonna let you kind of learn as stuff comes in, and that'll be the best experience for you. And 3 years later, I'm still doing what I love, taking care of people and getting stuff set up. And I have a ton of confidence in how we approach the just the bow building process itself. I wanted to give people what I didn't have coming up. And that's, an experience to where the bow's truly set up to you, tuned to your natural torque, your natural grip, because that's such a crucial thing. If I tune the bow and get it shooting straight through paper, it might not shoot straight for you. It's going to fishtail, it's going to look wonky, and you're just not going to have confidence in your setup, because your anchor may be different. You may have a slight pressure on one of your fingers on that riser, and it's going to pull the bow left or right, depending on how you put pressure into it with your hands, your wrist, stuff like that.
Oh, for sure.
Facial pressure matters. There's so much that goes into it. So try to build it to be as forgiving to the archer as possible, because, ultimately I want you to learn a repeatable, consistent grip that works for you, and I want people to get better, but at the same time, they're not going to be like, well, Ryan told me I need to hold my bow and do this, whenever they got that buck of a lifetime walking out, or, they're going to shoot that nanny doe that they've got a tag burning a hole in their pocket for. They're going to do what they've always done.
Shaking like a leaf in a tree.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You put stress in the situation too, it makes it that much worse. They're not going to remember any of it. So they're just going to shoot it and get the bow gone, get the arrow gone. So we try to tune it to people and get them confident in their equipment. And it takes a little more time to do it, but it's so much more rewarding.
Well,
people are, psyched about it.
You've got that right for sure. Well, my last couple bows you've tuned up for me, and it's one of those things to where I can do most of it, but it makes me feel so much more confident having you do it, just because you do it all day, every day. And it seems like every time that we go to adjust something, you'll be like, I bet it's this. And then you'll flip it. And then next thing you know, my bow is shooting darts.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it seems to be like that. Like you can level bows up. You can, put everything together and measure everything out, and then you go shoot it through paper and be like, oh yeah, thing's a half twist on, top or bottom, depending on which way that tail is. And, sure enough, you go put a half twist in and that thing shoots a bullet. Or it's like, okay, we need to flip your top hats, if you're shooting a Matthews, or we need to shim your cam, depending on which, spacers you got.
If you've made a bad choice and you're not shooting a Matthews.
No, I'm not going to say that, because everybody makes a good one. I do shoot a Matthews. I love the way they feel in my hands and stuff like that. They're very, they got a personality that works well with me, because everybody has a personality, but everybody makes a good one now. It's just what's important to you, what feels the best in your hands, and ultimately, we're going to try to make that a marriage, make it fit you, and
for sure,
work out for the long term. So
I couldn't help but work that dig in there.
No, I felt it. I don't blame you. Yeah, I am biased. I am partial.
I will say I was really impressed the other day when we were playing around, and in about, 3 seconds, you had a, 2¼ inch fixed blade, single bevel broadhead. You had it flying like, oh God, you wouldn't have known the difference between that and a field point going down the range.
Oh yeah, dude, those Helix FJ4s, those things are a 2 1/16 inch cut for the undergrains. They're all nasty 4-blade single bevels. And my friends over at America's Best they bought the company, and wanted to try them out and give an honest opinion to people about them. That's why I'm shooting them right now. They're a fantastic head from everything that they tuned right up, as you've seen. And them son of a guns are shooting laser beams. It's awesome.
And it is a freaking, it looks, if you haven't seen one, you need to go on and Google what it looks like. It is nasty looking. It's like a Native American broadhead meets like a sword. Like, it is crazy looking.
Yeah, dude, they're wicked. I'm excited to see what they do. I feel bad for the first, 100-pound doe that walks by opening night, because those are my favorite things in the world to eat. And I'm gonna let my brother, because I don't think it's gonna stop in any way, shape, or form until it hits the dirt and digs about a foot.
Amen to that. That once I made the switch over and started shooting fixed blade stuff, that was the biggest thing I noticed the difference in, is it passes through stuff, and then if you don't have a lighted nock, you're probably not going to find your arrow.
Oh yeah, they're gonna bury. It's pretty incredible how much they do penetrate.
It's wild. Well, on a different kind of topic, I caught wind. You didn't tell me, but I caught wind kind of in the background that you have some aspirations, some Olympic aspirations. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I do. So that kind of tapers back to the USAP side of things. So I missed trials this year because I couldn't get classified as a para-athlete fast enough to shoot the trials. Went to Arizona, they didn't have a classifier there, so I wasn't able to shoot the trials to make it to Paris this year, obviously. But kind of got to talking to some of my friends, my buddy Josh, and he's like, look, obviously you've got 4 years, but this is a great experience for you to shoot these tournaments, and it's something different than 3D archery and stuff like that. It's a different discipline altogether. Whole new mindset. But anywho, he's like, 4 years from now, you'll be ready, be prepared for it. You can still make the team, Team USA. And it's a pretty cool thing. I just got classified, a couple days ago in Ohio. Had to have my doctor fill out some paperwork saying, I guess I need to back up even further from there, because my mind's running like a little 3-legged hamster on a wheel right now, just kind of crazy. But for those that don't know, I'm all over the place. But for those that don't know, I'm a left leg below the knee amputee. 31 years old, had a bad motorcycle wreck when I was 20. Young woman pulled out in front of me and then locked up essentially in front of me, and it degloved my foot. It ripped it off backwards. So it's a little graphic, but that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Chasing my wife around, my 3 kids, and hunting and fishing and shooting bows as much as I can.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, I got classified in Ohio, and all my tournaments that I've shot previously, Arizona Gator, all my national ranking stuff, my point system is going to transfer over to the para side of things. And you got to be in the top 8 spots to make Team USA, to travel to shoot, like World Cups, Pan American stuff, all the cool things. And that gives you a lot of experience, and you get to shoot on a national level, shooting with the best in the world. And I'm going to tell you, them boys are incredible, and great humans too. So that's some of my dreams and aspirations. Is I want to be an athlete for the country. I want to shoot, and just spread the love of archery to everybody. That's what I'm here to do. I love archery.
Heck yeah.
And
well, it's kind of
sick to have a chance to represent.
That's awesome. And to me, it's kind of weird that you have to get certified or classified as para. I mean, can't you just pull your pant leg up and go, ta-da? I mean,
yeah, I thought that too.
It's like, hey, I'm not actually like hiding anything from you here. Like, ta-da! Like, I don't know what you want.
Yeah. Well, what it boiled down to is, there was a couple of people who faked being, like in a wheelchair, if I'm not mistaken, which is a really crummy thing to do, But anyway,
yeah, that's the kind of person needs to be taken out back.
Yeah, 100%. But they got caught, like walking around fine, doing their own things, and were claiming to be, paralyzed, basically. Wasn't able to walk, and then they got busted for it. So it kind of ruined it for everybody, even if it's blatantly obvious, like you're missing arms, you're missing, a leg, whatever, they still you got to go to a doctor. You got to get them to fill out. There's like 5 pages of paperwork for USA Archery. You got to submit it, and then they got to find an event where they've got someone that's there to physically classify you, see if you need, like some sort of assistance. Like they asked me if I needed a stool to sit on while I shot. I told them no, because I've got really good balance. But and it more or less just boiled down to, okay, yeah, we're verifying. We've got you here in person. We've got your paperwork that your doctor's filled out, and confirmed that you are disabled, or you are a para. And it's kind of crazy, and it's funny because if I make Team USA and have to shoot internationally, I got to get classified internationally. My national certification verification won't work, just because there are countries that will be dishonest about it. And, you kind of see like scandals time to time about it.
Oh, for
sure. They're going to verify everything. Yeah. So it's very tedious, I think is the proper word for it, which I get. Some of it, makes you kind of shake your head and wonder, but at the end of the day, I understand, because they got to do it across the board for everybody, and it just makes it fair. So I'm not, upset about that in any way.
I get that.
I couldn't shoot to get to Paris this year, but ultimately I think it was the best thing too, because I'm able to get a little more time behind the bow. I'm meeting all these new people and shooting this new discipline of archery, and that in itself, trying to train and shoot and be all these things to all these people, it's a lot to take in. So this will give me plenty of time to mature in the USAT side of things, the FIDA, side of things. And then it'll make me that much more prepared and better whenever it comes around again in 4 years.
That's an awesome outlook to have, because a lot of people would get discouraged and pissed off and just kind of be like, I'm done with this. But I'm looking really forward to seeing you in the red, white, and blue shooting on the TV.
Hey, listen, we're going to try. Finished 6th out of the paras in Ohio, 42nd overall, which isn't like, crazy good, but, like I said, I've been finishing around the 8th or 9th spot paras at the previous 2 tournaments. So, to finish, within that realm of top 8 is kind of nice. And we'll see where my standings are after nationals, because I go to Texas in 2 weeks. But yeah, it's not going to discourage me, and I'm excited. I hope I make it. I'm going to work my butt off and, try my best to represent, the shop at Saluda and stuff like that. But ultimately, the United States of America. That's what I want to do. I think it'd be a really cool opportunity and a great way to be an ambassador for the sport.
That's freaking cool, man. That's so cool. And now seems like a really good time for me to throw in a shameless plug, because this episode is brought to you by Saluda River Archery, the Upstate's one-stop archery shop. And I'm going to tell you, and I know that Ryan can chime in and tell you too, if your bow is not ready for deer season, you may want to hurry up and get on down to the shop, because things are getting crazy.
Yeah, we're getting spicy quick. Dude, everybody's getting stuff worked on, and I appreciate it. But yeah, if you got stuff you need to do, you better come in. That way we can take the best care of you as possible. Just be patient with us, and we're gonna treat you nice. Nobody
likes to be rushed with anything, much less something that, if you work hard at hunting and really care about hunting, nothing would suck worse than just because you didn't have your bow tuned up properly, you miss a deer of a lifetime. That'd be terrible.
Oh yeah. My favorite's when people come in the shop like 2 days before they got an elk hunt, and they're like, "Hey, I need to get a new bow. I'm, needing to learn how to shoot at 50, 60 yards.
Can I get a lesson? I have a moose hunt in Alaska coming up at the end of the week.
Dude, yeah, it's intense. And, I'm not mad at the people that they they're excited about going to hunt and stuff like that. I get a little sore about them not putting in the proper time and effort to be humane or ethical about it. That's kind of my struggle. Or they'll want new strings and cables and, get upset that we don't carry them for their, 15-year-old bow or whatever it may be. It's like those things take time. You've had this trip planned, plan accordingly, get your stuff together, make sure everything's, doing a good job, and put your time behind the bow. That'll make everything so much more successful. That way, whenever everything's on the line, you've got that one opportunity. You're gonna choke or blow it because of poor choices.
It's like anything else. I mean, if you don't put in the time and put in the effort, a lot of stuff on guided hunts is definitely pay to play, but you can pay to play all you want. But if you're not physically ready or mentally ready or practiced up and know what your equipment's going to do, you're not going to harvest the animal that you've paid a lot of money to harvest. Or if you go out to public land, you've just wasted a trip, because when the chips are down and crunch time's there, it's not going to work out how you want it to if you don't put in the effort prior.
Oh, 100%. 100%. The old saying, you reap what you sow. If you're not putting in the effort, you're not going to get anything out of it. I mean, you got one guy who might be, a little more gifted than others, that can just naturally pick something up really, really quick. But the reality is most of us have to work hard to be remotely, like mediocre at best. Myself, I have to work so hard to even be at the level I am. And there's so many people that are so much more talented that just, don't have to put in that effort. But, I'm not one of them. And most of us aren't. Most of us got to put time behind it and really, really work hard to be where we're at. So
amen to that.
Yeah. Work hard now. Don't do it like 2 days before and then expect to be, able to hit anything.
I'm about 3 times a week trying to shoot different distances, different types of situations. And I'm speaking of situations, I'm super pumped that we now have the situation room set up at the bow shop. Like, where else can you go get on a saddle, get on a tree stand type setup, or get in a ground blind and actually practice shooting targets? And it's air conditioned.
Yeah, see, that's the nice thing right there. Obviously we're in the dog days of summer now. Slowly starting to see some of the leaves yellow outside, so I'm getting excited about season coming up, but it's still hot. So that dude, being able to shoot in the air conditioning, try to practice and actually, prepare yourself to what it's going to look like seeing that animal come in is fantastic.
I think hot's an understatement. I had to go up to Home Depot, and literally getting out of the truck and walking into Home Depot, I'm soaking wet. Like, it is freaking hot.
Oh yeah, dude, it's muggy. It's insane. Nature's oven's on full blast outside. It's pretty cool.
It's like a flipping microwave out there.
Oh yeah. I get to watch my 9-year-old suffer in it here in a little bit. He's got 2 hours of football practice in just a little bit. So keep him hydrated and watch the little fella sweat a little bit.
Golly. Well, you're talking about putting the effort ahead of time. I know you're a big trail cam fan, and I know you pay close attention to what's going on your land.
Yep.
You have anything cool on camera that you're willing to share about?
I've had some interesting young bucks come by, that show great potential or, have a wonky side and stuff like that. I haven't just had any like studs come by, but I typically don't in the summer. It's kind of weird. Like it depends on where your properties are at, but you're going to have some properties that are summer properties, and you're going to have some that are fall properties, winter properties, stuff like that, where the deer like to frequent at different times of the year. So I best way to put it, I do have some cool young bucks and stuff like that cruising around, and a couple black bears and stuff. One really good bear, which I'm probably going to get a tag for because I think that would be incredible. I would love to, I'm not just going to shoot it to shoot it. Ultimately I eat everything I kill.
Oh, of course.
Because, I want to pay proper respects to the animal for harvesting it as best I can.
That bear seemed...
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was just saying it would be an incredible experience because that's something I haven't done yet.
Right on.
They're free footing.
I'm in that same category this year. My trail camera is friggin' littered with 2 black bears. One is kind of a younger black bear, and the other one, well, I showed you a picture of the other one. It's a pretty big black bear. Like, it's one that I always carry a sidearm when I go bow hunting anyway, but it's one that I'm definitely like, I'm going to have my sidearm, even though I know South Carolina has never, knock on wood, had a recorded black bear attack. It's one of those to where that thing's big enough to where I'm like, I don't really want to encounter you in the dark, either on the way in or on the way out.
No, 100%. 100%. No, that boar you showed me a picture of was a pretty good one. I wouldn't want to just sneak up on him in the dark either.
Nope, but I have a single bevel broadhead that could probably sneak up on him pretty good.
I promise you. I promise you.
That's
we
funny.
get a 2-week window there, so we'll see what this fall brings. But chances are I'll see him outside of actual season and just watch him kind of do his thing, and that's a cool experience in itself because they're not typically going to bother anybody unless you just provoke them, and even then they're going to avoid it if they.
Oh yeah, that's the beauty of a black bear versus any type of the brown species. I've got a buddy who him and another buddy are headed out west, and they encountered a grizzly at one point at I wouldn't say super close, but also like 40 yards. That's a little closer than I want to be to a grizzly. And he went and picked up a 460 Smith & Wesson to keep the thing away.
Oh, dude, I bet.
He has a bazooka now.
Big old hand cannon.
I didn't realize
how fast they can cover that ground.
Yeah.
This don't take no time.
I saw it was on Instagram. It was a video of this lady who's a taxidermist. She was holding a black bear skull in her hand and had like her fingers in the mouth area. Oh, sorry, that was one of my timers for the ribs. Hold on just a second.
Oh boy, you gotta go take care of that.
I'm gonna have to here in just a minute. But she had her hand inside the black bear skull and was opening and closing the mouth. It kind of looked like, in The Lion King where Scar is like messing with the skull.
Oh, yeah.
Like it kind of looked like a little puppet, like rah, 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 rah. And then it shows her holding a grizzly bear skull, and she is like hugging it against her body, and it's like bigger than her body, and it's just the skull. Like, it was crazy. I did not I realized, yes, grizzly bears can get 1,500 pounds, but I didn't grizzlies or Kodiaks but I didn't realize that they could get that big, or they were that big. Like, golly.
Oh yeah. Well, you see pictures of people holding up grizzly paws and they're the size of their actual head, like a doggone dinner plate. That's a big animal. Just its feet.
You got that right. You got that right. And it's a carnivore. It's got teeth and claws. And it really doesn't get too worried in the woods because it really doesn't have any predators. Like, who's going to mess with that?
100%. Nobody, I mean, even us, we're not just going to, openly, pursue it, I wouldn't think, unless you're crazy. But,
I mean,
it's intense.
We're apex predators, but that's an apex predator that really doesn't care about us. Like most wildlife animals, especially if they're, carnivores and apex predators, they're going to care and be like, oh, that's a human. They're going to trump me. A grizzly bear is like, watch this.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you think about it. The only reason we're apex is just because of our ability to think and process information, and to actually
that's very
use,
true.
Weapons. You drop us out without a weapon, and all of a sudden we're not apex anymore.
We're a bag of meat.
Yeah, we go to swimming in the ocean. And we trickle down that roll a lot.
You got that right. Well, you've seen the movie. You've seen the movie The Other Guys, haven't you?
No, I haven't.
What? Oh, you got to watch it. It's funny. Will Ferrell makes a comment about it's like a lion or a tiger in the ocean against a tuna. And he's like, you're out of your element. You're out of your element. 9 times out of 10, you lose that battle. It's,
Oh yeah,
that's a fantastic movie.
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, I want to check that out.
It's pretty funny. Well, Ryan, do you have anything? I know you've got other stuff you got to rock and roll and do today, but do you have anything else you want the good folks on here to know, either about you, about the shop, or about something to get ready for hunting season?
I guess my final stuff would probably just be along the lines of, you know, go to your authorized retailers, you know, get them to help you get set up and prepared for season. Put the work in now. I know it's hot. You know, shoot 5 minutes in the evenings or whatever, just a couple arrows a day, a couple nights a week until you get up to season. That way, when it comes in, you're ready. Don't wait till last minute to get anything checked on, or if you have even a question about your equipment, you know, go get it looked at. You know, that way you're not behind the 8 ball and you come in and there's something wrong. But take your time, be prepared, you know, go see your authorized retailers and the people you trust, and they're going to take great care of you. So if you come see us, you know, be patient with us. I'm going to take the same amount of time with you as I do the person in front of you. You know, it just depends on what your needs are. I want you confident. I want you safe, number one. And then, you know, everything else will fall into place. So work hard and just go see the people that you trust, and that'll take care of you. And that's all I've really got. You know,
heck yeah, man.
Bring photos in, and we're going to take good care of you, and we're going to, you know, congratulate you. I don't care if it's the biggest deer in the state or if it's the smallest deer in the state. If it got you excited, you had a tag and it was legal, I am pumped for you. So, you know, enjoy what you do.
Well said, brother. Well said. Well, you guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Lodge. If you have any questions or if you want to hear us talk about anything on here, make sure to reach out to me on Instagram. That's Whited Outdoors Instagram. And until next time, tight lines and double lungs. Have a good one.